Afternoon, welcome to the programme. Owen and Bradley with Sean Barker alongside, here to bring you some reaction from Elland Road, where Derby County have lost to Leeds United this lunchtime. The home side have returned to the top of the championship table with the victory. 2 goals, both coming late in the first half, both first goals for Leeds. Joe Rodon first with a header from a corner, and then Max Wober, who'd come on midway through the first half, with a finish a minute before the break. Derby improved after half-time, but didn't really trouble Ilan Melier, and it leaves the Rams with just 1 win in 10 matches now. So Derby failing to score for just the 3rd time in the Championship this season. And another game, Sean Barker, without a victory, which I don't think anybody really expected at Leeds today, given their standing and their depth and their talent. But what do you make of Derby this afternoon?
I think it'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Leeds and the quality that we saw on show from the team that sits top of the table. Best team we've seen by a country mile for me. The gulf in quality and possession and detail was evident. You can see how Paul wanted to set up in a back 5 with a 4 in front and make it difficult and try and close gaps and stop Leeds playing through the pitch. And for 35 minutes, that was pretty evident. Although we didn't offer much in attack and on transition, on counter, we limited Leeds to very few opportunities, and it was really disappointing to concede from a set piece, which then changes the whole narrative of the game. So we weren't at our best in possession in that final third and on transition. That has to be absolutely spot on when you're sitting deep and you're trying to frustrate teams. But ultimately, the quality of the two teams was there to show, and I think it's down to how good Leeds are. They looked like a Premiership team playing against a team that hasn't won a few games in the Championship. So we can be disappointed, maybe not getting a result. Nobody fully expected us to get a result. We hoped, we had a feeling that maybe something could happen, but ultimately the class was just too much for us.
More analysis has come from Barks. I will mention that the 3 o'clock kickoffs are underway in the Championship. We'll show you results so far from the weekend before we go. But let's get some reaction from Elland Road. Here's the Derby boss, Paul Warne.
I thought we didn't have enough personality on the ball first half. They made it difficult. They pressed. They're ex-Premier League players coming after you all the time. Made it difficult. I thought we defended quite well. Disappointing, obviously, to concede from a corner that late in the half. Look, we've had it the other way round when we've played other teams, been the big dogs in League One, and you go in at half time 0-0. Fans aren't pleased. It helps us. So it's about trying to reduce them to little chances, but also to try and get things on the break. We weren't very good offensively today. I don't think, in fairness to the fans who came, and I thank them for it. They kindly clapped the players off, but we didn't give them enough to really get behind today going forward. And that isn't because it weren't from a lack of effort, it's just the fact that they cancelled out everything we had. Any time we took someone on, they'd take the ball off us, and it made it difficult for us. So to concede them 2 goals first half, but then I thought second half, they weren't really cutting us open. I know Jacob had shots to save, but that's what he's there for. And I thought we had good passages in the play without having any final bit to it, if that's the nicest way I can put it. I thought subs came on and done well. Had to think about Tuesday night with a few of them, so we changed the pack. And I don't think it's any surprise that we lost 2-0 here. Sheffield lost here, everyone's lost here virtually apart from Burnley, I think, and Pompey got a draw weirdly right at the start of the season. So look, it's a difficult place to come. They're very good players. I'm not making any excuses, and the lads gave me everything they had. So for that, I've just told them that. I thank them, but it was a tough day.
You mentioned there that you sort of got through, I think it was about half an hour. Did you start to think you can really start to frustrate the crowd here a little bit, and then they get that corner? I suppose that's probably the biggest frustration for you, that if you could just got to half time, as you said there.
Yeah, and I think that there was a warning sign before that. Rodon had a free header. We've got to get closer. We obviously highlighted that already, so don't need to go back over it. But it's disappointing that we weren't cut open in open play. Obviously we didn't cut them open either, but it wasn't like our keeper was making save on save, and the way we tried to play was trying to let them go round us, and we'd defend crosses, and I thought the lads were very good at that. But to concede off a set piece is disappointing, and then, like I said, to concede straight away after it, was difficult. And you can come here and you can be 2-0 down at half time, you can end up 5 or 6 or 7. So, I know where we are, and the fact that the lads kept it and we tried to ask them to try and keep it, the scoreline, in the way that the last 20 minutes, if we go for it and we get a goal, it could be a different outcome. But, unfortunately, like I said, with the ball today, we were nowhere near as good as Leeds were. And, am I disappointed? Yeah. Am I overly surprised? Possibly not. I know where we lack. But from actual effort and courage from the lads, I don't think we do.
In terms of sort of the courage there, and you mentioned quite a few games where you've been proud of the team. Are you sort of proud that they stuck in there? Because 2-0 down at Leeds, a lot of teams can fold and become overwhelmed here.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that. I just, I don't want it to become a trend that I say, look, performances are good, but results aren't. I don't think today our performance was good, our effort levels were good, and our organisation was good, but we just let ourselves down. And when you chasing the ball, when you get it back, sometimes your legs are gone and it's hard to find a simple pass. And I thought there was moments where we looked really comfortable on the ball, but then the final ball or the final decision, Leeds make it really tough. I'm not criticising the lads for that. They're just very good players that make it very tough. So, it's no different going to any top team in any league. It's a hard game if they're on song, and some of their players today were very good.
Busy week this week. I suppose you just got to not dust yourselves down, but move on, full focus on Burnley on Tuesday now.
Yeah, we knew coming into this, these are 2 tough games, or 3 tough games in 6 days, and it's just unfortunate we didn't pick points up at home before coming into these, because they make not more pressure, but you need to stop the losing rot. But playing Leeds away, Burnley away aren't ideal. So so we'll pick the lads up, pick the bones out of it as we always do, and be fair. I think is the best thing to say. I'll be fair with the lads on what I can critique and what I can thank them for. And like I said already, I don't think anyone had us down to get anything here apart from ourselves. But Leeds were right on it. I knew they'd bounce back after defeat, and unfortunately we let ourselves down with a set piece that changed the game. Look, prior to that, I'm not pretending in any way that we were the better team, that we had control of the game. We did not. But away from home, sometimes you've just got to stifle them and take your opportunities when you had it. And the fairest way I can look at it is, first half they had 2 set pieces, bang in the middle of R6. Rodon gets 2 headers. We have a set piece. We don't get it in the right area. I'm not too sure the conditions helped, and sometimes games swing on those moments. And today, we come away with no points, no injuries, luckily, and disappointed that we didn't put enough of a show on for the fans. But like I said already, I can't knock the lads for effort. They're in there absolutely exhausted.
That's Derby boss Paul Warne. Interestingly, Leeds have now followed up all 3 of their championship defeats this season with 2-0 victories in their following game. But our focus will be on Derby, of course. Sean Barker, how disappointed were you with the defending first half, particularly for both Rodon opportunities, the one he put wide and the one ultimately he scores, because that seemed to be the focus of what Paul Warne talked about in that final answer. Yeah,
we've talked about big moments in games, and it's caught us out the last few weeks. When we've been on top and maybe not taken a chance or switched off from a moment from the opposition. Today, I thought we defended pretty well throughout. I thought the back 3 were probably the pick of the players. They made blocks, they made tackles, they defended the space in behind them well. We've seen how important set pieces are for us. I think we're top of the table for scoring set pieces, but it's just as important you defend them well. And the disappointing thing, more than anything, was the fact that Rodon already had a chance. He had a chance 5-10 minutes before. That was the only clear-cut chance up to 35, 36 minutes. It was from a set piece, and we allowed the same ball, the same player, the same time and space to get a free header at goal. So that's the most disappointing thing. We didn't learn from our mistakes with the first chance. We were let off. We limited them in the first 40 minutes to, I think, a half chance in open play, and it tells you how well the shape and structure was working. Now, Paul mentioned we didn't have that detail, obviously, on the counter and in the attacking third. I completely agree. But the longer the game goes on, if it stays at 0-0 at half-time, the narrative for that first 45 minutes feels very, very different. We've talked about it before. home teams, especially the likes of Leeds, who are expected to win week in, week out, get more and more frustrated. And then those little gaps, those little moments where you can punish teams by sitting deep and then all of a sudden catch them out becomes more evident. So the first goal definitely changed the game. The second one pretty much killed it before half time. At that point, not many believed that you probably have enough to go and get something from the game. But the spirited second half, we had a few moments ourselves. The fact that you don't go on and concede more and lose by a bigger margin is a real positive. The fact that you stayed in the game to a degree. But ultimately, we're looking at a team that's aim is to survive in the league, and the opposition aim is to finish in that top two, if not the top one. And on display today, that we saw a team that should finish top one if they play like that, because I thought they're outstanding. The detail of pass was the best we've seen. I can put on one hand how many times they misplace a pass as an unforced error, and that happens very few times in the Championship.
We know the goal and the achievement for Derby this season would be to finish 1 point above the relegation zone. I mean, in the context of that, how important could goal difference prove to be? Just looking at Derby's now, -4, I mean, that is better than teams around there. Preston -8, Luton -13, Plymouth -20. I appreciate teams have maybe got a game in hand now, but is that the sort of thing that you have to keep an eye on, even at this stage of the season?
You do. Again, what's your objective of the season? I've got no doubt that the staff know that it's to stay in the Championship. We've seen at the start of the season a little bit of detail in that first game where we had 20 minutes where we switched off and got punished. I think we've learnt from that. Prior to today, there's only 2 games where you lose by 2 goals. So we're always competitive. Today felt the least competitive because of the quality difference and the fact that you concede that second before half time. Goal difference are always important if that's your objective, to stay in the league. So that is something that will be considered, but that doesn't mean that you don't go for the wins. You don't look to be aggressive on the press. You don't look to perform and pick up results. And I've learnt no more from this Derby team by watching today's performance. There's no more kind of negativity, there's no more kind of positivity. It's just what we expected from the difference in quality, and we have to go again against Burnley. We have to try and pick ourselves up. I think there'll be a few in there feeling a little bit maybe down and sorry for themselves because we haven't had as many wins in recent weeks as we probably deserved and hoped, but you have to play the league, you have to play the tough teams away from home, and the next game is our next chance to bounce back.
Let's get some more reaction. Liam Thompson had Derby's only shot on target today.
Tough game. The lads are all disappointed in there, but I think the first half sort of killed us a little bit, especially the goals we conceded, set pieces. You know, it's unlike us, but gave us a bit of a mountain to climb after that. But I think we showed more courage in the second half, getting on the ball and making things happen, and made it harder for them, I thought. But I think the first half sort of killed us. Even going in just a goal down would have helped, but yeah, I think the first half and the goals we conceded were poor from our side.
So about the courage we showed there, is that one of the positives we can take into the next few games?
Yeah, definitely. I think we showed glimpses of it in the first half, but not enough, and then especially more in the second half. But like I say, it's, can take that into the next game, another tough one, but we know when we do show that confidence on the ball, we can, you know, pull teams open. It's just that final last ball maybe that we need to work on. But listen, it's a tough place to come and there's positives to take, but disappointed with the result.
It's a quick turnaround, another big test at Burnley. How are you looking to prepare for that game?
The exact same as it was for this, really. You know, we know what type of game it will be. We know it will be tough, but like I say, we know we've got more than enough in the changing room there to go and get something. We know it's a tough run, but these are the games we want to be playing in. Like I said out there, these games, the big games, are the ones you want to be involved in, and of course it's a challenge, but we know we've got more than enough to go and grab something.
That's Derby midfielder Liam Thompson. Results from the weekend so far and some latest scores for you, which may well be out of date if you're watching this on catch-up. Burnley missed the chance to go top last night only drawing with Middlesbrough at Turf Moor. That, of course, is Derby's destination on Tuesday. In the other lunchtime games, Sheffield Wednesday came from behind to get a point at home to Preston, and Sunderland got a late winner to beat Stoke. A couple of later scores then. The 3 o'clock's underway. Blackburn leading at Hull and Portsmouth leading against Bristol City. They kicked off a little bit late at Luton, where it's still goalless, and as you can see, Queen's Park Rangers, another side toward the bottom of the table, have taken the lead against Norwich. West Brom, Sheffield United coming up on Sunday. The table then, correct before the 3 o'clocks got underway. Confirmation Leeds going back to the top. That could change with Sheffield United playing tomorrow. At the bottom of the table, Derby staying where they are, at least for now. Again, that could change by the time you watch this on catch-up, but the gap between the Rams and the bottom three still 5 points, even if sides down there were to win today. Teams like Plymouth, Cardiff not playing because their games are postponed, so there will still be a 3-point gap between the Rams and the relegation places. And that's all from us for now. If you want more reaction to today's game, it'll be on the website, dcfc.co.uk. And we're back with you Tuesday for that trip to Turf Moor. For now, from me, Barks, and the team, goodbye.